Okay, we're on. We're live, at least legends in our own minds already.
Definitely.
Yeah, so if you are just joining us, I am interviewing the illustrious Karla Phillips that I've known her since she was since we were both freshmen in college.
Hmm.
And I called Karla last week in desperation after my failed attempts at napping because I know Karla as a premier napper. She's got napping skills like nobody's business. She was incredibly active, incredibly busy in college, and she would just take these amazing 20-minute naps and power through the rest of her day. So I called her up and said, okay, tell me your secrets. And Karla, you were just this wealth of information. And I said, okay, we got to record this
Yeah.
because you got to share all of this with our friends and the rest of the women out there who are struggling like I am too. Yeah.
Yes, I will do my best. And I don't know if the way I approach it will be helpful to others, but it works like a charm for me.
All right.
So,
So yeah, tell us a little bit about your nap prep because that was really interesting to me.
okay. So, um, I think, like most things for women, there is a lot of mental conversations that need to take place for you to be fully present in the moment. And I think that goes across many areas of our life, but it also crosses the world of napping. So, one of the things that is critical, and I always start in my mind as I'm napping, is with the thought, no one needs me right now. And so I have to put myself in a place where that is actually true. So I'm in a room with the door closed. As I mentioned before, no pets because pets need you too. And oh man,
Yeah.
I mean, I can't take a nap with Daisy. That just doesn't happen.
And
So
Daisy is the cutest, wrinkliest bulldog I've ever seen.
yes, and loud and snores and jingles her collar. And so Daisy can't need me, neither can my teenagers. But I go in a space where no one needs me, and I mentally tell myself that no one needs me right now, and kind of like a mantra of that. And that's how I start. That's how I start any nap.
And then you situationally, you set yourself up for success in terms of where you are. And one of the things that I found interesting that you said to me is, I'm not like, this is not bedtime. I'm not, I'm fully dressed. It's like a different setup from your nighttime sleeping. And I'd never heard that before. And that was really interesting to me.
Well, it's meant to be a moment of rest. And so I don't change. And in fact, if I'm being really OCD about my home, sometimes I don't even take off my shoes. Like I just gently, I'll lay on my bed. Pillows are not adjusted. I just, kind of recline back. I don't get under the covers. I have a little throw at the foot of the bed. I'll use that if I'm cold in any way, but it's not meant to be long, and it's not meant to be a toss around, snuggle in kind of thing like you might at night. But I just, gently find somewhere comfortable, and I'm just not going to move for a period of time, whether it's 20 minutes, whether it's an hour. I mean, it depends on the day and depends on my fatigue, but it is meant to be a moment of stillness. And I also don't worry about if I fall asleep, which, I typically do, but I think part of the reason I typically do is I don't care if I do. So, but I just want to rest and relax. And for those of you who've done any sort of meditation, I start off with body awareness, and I think nobody needs me. And then I think about my scalp, and I really pay attention to my scalp and how my hair feels, and then I just, move down and, how does my forehead feel, and relax my forehead. How do my ears feel? And, just pay attention to those and work my way down. One area that I tend to hold a lot of tension is in my jaw. And so I will think about that. I will think, just relax my jaw. And the key to that, which was something I learned in a smart bar class here, is pay attention to where your tongue is in your mouth. And if you are holding tension in your mouth, your tongue is probably pressed to the roof of your mouth. So anyway, as you're going through this, no one needs me right now, and paying attention to these parts of your body. I mean, you might wind up going all the way down to your toes, but I'm normally asleep or completely relaxed anyway before I even get to my neck. So
where do you put your tongue?
Just relax it. You just take it off. Your mouth is closed, and then just take your tongue off the roof of your mouth.
Kind of free floating.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you said two really important mindset things. Nobody needs me right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter if I fall asleep.
No.
Because then you're kind of taking the pressure off.
Right.
And then there was a third mindset thing that kind of blew me away. It was so simple. You said, well, my mom was pro-nap.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, pro-nap?
Mm-hmm.
You're like, yeah, pro-nap. And you told me, oh my gosh, Dottie, I loved Dottie so much. Tell us about Dottie being pro-nap as you were growing up.
Well, Dottie napped when she could, and probably a lot more than I realized, when I wasn't looking. But I particularly remember being a teenager and being around her. And I'm not sure exactly what I was doing. Maybe I was being grumpy. Maybe I looked tired. Maybe I was being that, lovely, petulant teenager that I now live with.
I can't even.
Yeah, God's joke, right? But she would say, "Oh, honey, I think you should go take a nap." And I just would be like, you know what? I think I'm going to. And sometimes I'd be gone. And this was high school. So you're growing and you're hormonal. So maybe you'd sleep for hours. She was probably just happy to get me out of her hair. Just like, let's take that bad attitude and let's go readjust somewhere else. But she never said it that way. She always said, oh, honey, why don't you take a nap? Get some rest. And anyway, so that kind of, that permission to take a nap. I didn't think that was important, but I realize now that if you are in a household that is not pro-nap, if there's guilt or shame, you're not going to be able to nap. And some of that guilt and shame is imposed on ourselves.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely pro-nap, and was so sad when my children stopped napping, because that meant I couldn't. But now that they're teenagers, I can again. And now that they're older teenagers, they're starting to nap too. And we are all in support of that. And, my mother passed away this year, and that, I was her caregiver prior to that. There was a lot of stress involved. And there were times where I just needed to invest in myself for 20 minutes and stop the worry, or the grieving, depending on which side of it we were on. And that 20 minutes could be a game changer. So I could be reinvested. I could be more productive. It was a game changer this last year. And COVID, we've been trapped in the house. So sometimes, you don't know what to do. I'm gonna go take a nap.
Yeah.
See y'all on the other side. See you in an hour. So that's been helpful.
Well, and you lost your mother, and there's been so much loss worldwide in 2020. And grief is exhausting. I think people underestimate how exhausting grief can be. And grief can take so many forms.
Mhm.
So if anybody ever needed a nap, it's all of us in 2020. We need like collective nap time followed by juice and cookies.
Well, and we're grieving loss of routine on the best case scenario, right? That's
Yeah.
the best case scenario. But some people have lost their jobs, some people have, lost loved ones. But even loss of routine is something to grieve, or loss of independence. And my husband and I were talking last night, like, I wish we could just go out for a nice steak dinner to celebrate something good that had happened in our family. Like, wouldn't it be great if the four of us could go and get, dress nice and go have a nice steak dinner to celebrate, um, a college acceptance that Luke got, but we can't. So we'll just have that at home, in our sweatpants, and celebrate that way, which is fine. We could have worse problems.
Well, and so now you bring to your point about loss of routine. Now, if you have a loss of routine and you're kind of floundering at home, to create a new routine for yourself, maybe now's the time to incorporate the nap into that routine.
Yes, and I have kind of a window of time. I have a pretty strong morning routine that does not include napping, and very productive, and certain goals that I want to do. And then when I've met them, there's this, kind of joy and satisfaction of, oh wow, I could take a nap anytime I want, anytime the mood strikes me from this point on. And I don't nap every day, but I do try to.
I'm trying. So yeah, I'm setting up my routine. I'm practicing a nap. And that's the other message I want to get across is that this is a skill. This
Mhm.
is a skill. And it can be hopefully an acquired one, and I'm working on it with your advice and the advice of others out there. I think
Mhm.
that permission piece is so important because in my early years, my mom with her MS,
Mhm.
uh, she suffered with overwhelming fatigue, and I asked all the time, Mom, why can't you go take a nap? And she would say, uh, because I can't recover from the nap. It would just wipe her, like she couldn't, it didn't leave her feeling more rested, it left her feeling discombobulated. So
Mhm.
I had the experience that growing up, that napping was like counterproductive or even dangerous,
Mhm.
to her well-being. So I think I soaked up some of that message. So when you said my mom was pro nap, bells went off. I'm like, oh, yes. And others that I've talked to about napping, the ones who are good nappers had families growing up that were pro nap.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so if anything, I just want to give women and everyone permission to try to incorporate this into their lives if they think it will be helpful. And what I'd love to leave with, Karla, is what does it do for you? Like, what benefit do you get
Gosh.
post nap?
Oh, post nap, I feel rejuvenated. I am proud of myself for having given myself some self-care. It doesn't take much for me to pat myself on the back. I'm one of those people, but I'm like, "Oh, good job. You took a nap." And then
Yay me.
I know, like, excellent work. And again, it doesn't even have to be about sleeping, right? It has to be about just putting everything aside for 20 minutes or an hour, and then coming back to it with a renewed focus and a renewed energy and accomplishment. And so I'm much more productive after a nap. So
And that's huge. What that you actually celebrate napping. Like you give yourself a pat on the back. Oh my gosh, I took a nap. Yay me.
yeah.
I'm so awesome.
Well, my family will tell you there's very little I don't celebrate. Like, I get out of bed with energy, and I'm like, yay, look at me. So anyway, that might be There's probably a personality disorder in there somewhere, but
But it's
I
working for you.
I do like to celebrate anything, pretty much anything. But I celebrate it for other people too, not just myself. So
Yes, you are one of the biggest hearted people I know, and one of the most accomplished in everything you do, which is why you are such a perfect interview subject to talk about napping, because you're not a slacker. You're a little type A, in terms of your need to accomplish goal. You're goal driven. I mean, you're a very highly functioning adult who loves napping and celebrates napping and is a pro at it. So
thank you.
you
It's
for sharing your
funny to be
wisdom.
considered good in this area, but I have to say, I think you're right. I think I am. I think this is a strength.
That's awesome. All right. Any last words of wisdom you'd like to leave us with today?
Oh my gosh. I think as women, we can also create the pro-nap environment within our homes. So with our partner, with our children, with our pets, with everybody, just encourage the nap. My older teenagers are napping, and we're all better for it. And so my husband, will go, and sometimes I'll feel bad because he'll be at work and he'll come home and say, what'd you do today? And I said, well, I worked all morning, then I took a nap, and then I worked a couple hours in the afternoon. And he'll say, oh my God, that's awesome. It's awesome you got that nap in. So
Yeah. So that
we,
helps to have a supportive family,
sure.
a supportive tribe around napping.
Yes.
Yeah. And so if you don't have that, that could definitely be a barrier. And
Mhm.
so maybe we'll do another segment on how to get your family to fall in line. Or maybe you just try it out and become a more pleasant person to be around, and then they become pro nap.
My family likes it when I nap. So
They see the benefits. It
yes,
benefits them as well.
exactly. Exactly. I maintain that pleasantness that we all like. And we're all trapped in here together. So it's
Right?
nice to have pleasant people. And if you can't be pleasant, go lay down. So,
Yeah. Oh, and sweetie.
darling, take a nap. You look a little tired.
You're genius. Oh, I love it. Okay, Karla Nicole, I think we're going to wrap up today's Naptastic advice. You have been phenomenal.
Thank you.
And I so, so, so appreciate you coming on and sharing your wisdom with us.
Well, I'm flattered and happy to. So anytime.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your day. Make
You,
sure you leave time for a nap.
I will. I will about 1 o'clock. Okay.
All right, guys. Everybody, feel free to nap. Please, leave any questions or comments for us. We love to see those.
Mhm.
And go have a great rest of your day as well. Bye-bye.